here are 5 books that have helped me during my grief. So I've got 5 books here, and I will do like separate videos talking about each individual one and what I took out from them. So as you can see, the first book I've put up is called Moving Beyond by a medium called Fleur Sink. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. Okay, so these are the books that I felt really supported me throughout my grief. I really turned to reading after my daughter died because I couldn't take any of the noise of like maybe watching videos or listening to, hold on, let me just adjust this, oops. There we go. I couldn't take the noise of like maybe going onto social media because obviously my algorithm was entirely dedicated to babies, and even when I specifically told Instagram no babies still would come through. And then I couldn't really do YouTube because actually I did go onto YouTube a lot, but I felt like it didn't have any of the things that I was searching for. And then I listened to quite a lot of music and stuff, but reading was the next step. So I feel like music was where it started in terms of needing to feel held and supported and understood. I got quite a few songs, and maybe I'll do some videos on some of the songs that I felt really helped me. But reading was the next best thing, or the best thing, I think, because I felt like this is a person who is getting where I'm coming from and I need to be understood. So after my daughter died, after she was stillborn, a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, came to the hospital. 2 of my friends came to the hospital, and this particular friend, she spoke about when she experienced the loss of her mum and her grandma. And I remember being to her like, I just kept saying to her, I'm so sorry, like, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you continue surviving after the loss of your world? Like, the person you depended on as a mum, right? She depended on her mum and her grandma, grew up with them, they nurtured her. Me, my daughter, I was expecting to do that for her, and basically her life was stopped before I even got a chance to really get down to doing this. And she spoke about, now this friend of mine, I would describe her, I don't know if she still describes herself in this way, but as an atheist, or at least somebody who doesn't believe in a lot of things, or like, how, not that she doesn't believe in a lot of things, but she doesn't believe in, I don't know, I can't even prescribe exactly what it is, but she just wouldn't believe in wishy-washy things that don't feel grounded in truth, or things that don't feel like there is an explanation or evidence for it. But she saw a medium, and after she saw a medium, she said it changed her perspective, and she really believes because this guy got everything right, and he got things right that she had never shared with anyone. And I know people love to say, oh, it's cold reading. I'm sorry, there are some things that you can't cold read, and I'll get into that. So she told me that, and I immediately grabbed onto that, and I was like, I need to see a medium. And then I had this thing in my head where I was like, no, I don't need to see a medium. I want to be a medium. Like, I need to connect with my daughter. I need to see with my daughter because her life couldn't be in vain. Guys, like the feeling, it's very enraging that you get of like, you were expecting to see and meet your child, you couldn't wait. Like, one of the things that I wanted to see with my daughter is so silly, like, what color would her eyes be? Would she have my color eyes, or should I have my husband's colored eyes? What would her hair be? I couldn't wait to do her hair. These are like obviously very superficial things, but these are things that I was excited to do. This is my first kid. I'm going to have this whole opportunity to do all of that, and then that's stolen from you on the day of giving birth. I just couldn't content myself with her life being in vain. Like, I need to find my daughter. That's the life that I was, the internal struggle I was living with. And then I went on to like YouTube and Google. I Googled like stillbirth in spirit, baby loss in spirit, and nothing was coming up. Actually, I can't say nothing was coming up, but it was very empty. Like, I was clutching at straws, reading things from like 2006 or 2018, years and years and years ago, and finding books that felt so far removed. And then I came across this book on Amazon, and it's called Moving Beyond. access your intuition, psychic ability, and spirit connection. And for me, it was this, my spirit connection. The blurb, it says, learn to access your intuition on demand, create the life you desire, and experience firsthand the signs your loved ones send from the other side. This was it. I need to know that my daughter is talking to me. I need to know that my daughter's life wasn't in vain. Moving Beyond offers the ultimate guidebook to give anyone, even a beginner, their own spiritual experiences so that you can trust your gut feelings. Remember, guys, I don't say gut feeling anymore. I say womb feeling. Yes. And distinguishing them from fear, anxiety, and imagination. Find your life's spiritual purpose. Feel connection and communicate with those who have passed. Yes, I need to with my daughter. Move beyond the physical and into an empowered intuitive life for real stories, and to do it yourself exercises to access your own spiritual truth. And then there's like a little quote from Lana Del Rey where she says, there's a handful of truthfully gifted mediums and clairvoyants in this world. Fleur is one of them. Yes, she is. And here's the thing, so like one of the things that it says here is distinguish them from fear, anxiety, and imagination. Sometimes like we get a feeling about things and then we think, oh, I'm just being overly anxious, I'm being overly emotional, or I'm just making things up in my head. And actually that's not really what's happening. Like you're sensing something is wrong, something is different. And this is something that I've had as well for a long time, of like when I know someone is lying to me, or when I know that someone has said something that feels like a red flag, but I always love to give people the benefit of the doubt to my own detriment. To my own detriment, I like think, no, you know, I'm friends with this person, I love this person, and sometimes I'm getting real feelings of the things they say, and it, you know, like the spidey sense you get, and you're feeling like, no, this is a red flag, for example, or this person has said this and it makes me feel uneasy, but still I feel like, no, I have to be loyal to the soil. I know that that person's hurting and I need to be there for that person. But actually the things that they said don't feel right to me. And sometimes I don't question that. I just give people the benefit of the doubt and be like, oh no, do you know what? Like maybe they didn't mean it like that, instead of addressing it. Also, I don't really like conflict. I don't like, it's not to say, oh, it sounds like I'm an avoidant, and I probably am for most part. But I need to speak more. Like when something doesn't feel right, just say it to people in that moment, if that makes sense. Because as much as I'm like, I love to speak on greater issues, sometimes when it's issues pertaining to myself and that it affects me as a person, I don't do that, and I definitely need to do that more. And that means having boundaries when it comes to friendships and relationships, which is something that I need to be better at. So anyways, when I started reading this book, I love it for the simple fact that it has like do it yourselves, as you heard on the blurb. Like for example, these moments here where it tells you what to do in order to unlock things. It tells you to separate, it asks you to separate what do you think is imagined and what is actually your intuition speaking to you. Really and truly, like this book became my guide throughout the early days of my grief. Like I would come into this book and just take in what it was saying, and weirdly enough, like as I started reading this book, a lot of things were happening that felt like synchronicity, like these things were happening because I'm now more alert and more awake. So for example, the first week of reading this book, two things happened. The first week of reading this book, I was it would have been around January, so just a month after giving birth to my daughter, or leading up to a month of giving birth to my daughter, and I was reading this book, and I'm driving to go get my hair done. I've driven down this road many times because I used to get my hair done in this specific place, and this would have been 2023 that I went to go get my hair done, somewhere January 2023, or maybe even Feb, one of those months. And I remember, you know, I've driven down this road before, and since 2020 I haven't actually come to get my hair done here because I've just learned to do it myself. But because obviously after grief, I just needed to be looked after. I wasn't going to sit there and do my own hair. And as I was driving, I come across a church, and this church is called Spiritist Church. And I'm thinking, what is that? Like, I've always driven down here and I've never, and this is what I mean, this is what the book means about paying attention to signs, because I would have looked at that before, or maybe not looked at that before, but I looked at it and noticed it at the right moment where I needed it most, where it made sense for me. So I looked at it and I was like, what on earth is a Spiritist church? I have never heard of any of these things. And basically a Spiritist church is a place where mediums go to do readings. People do readings in Spiritist church, and Spiritism is essentially a belief that you know, so it's like a mix between religion and science. And then there's another word that they say, they have like a triangle: religion, science, and something else. I can't remember what it is. And they use mediumship as evidence of continuation of life, right? As evidence of our people who have passed on. And I was like, what are the chances of now that I'm trying to connect with this, you know, mediumship and connecting with my daughter, that I'm finding this church? So essentially I googled it and I read all about it, and I was like, oh my god, I need to go to a Spiritist church. So I found one that was local to me after having seen that, because I'd never searched that before. So it was a moment that happened as I'd started reading this book. And I did go into Spiritist churches after that, and I got so much out of it. And I was doing a course actually led by a church in America. It's actually led by Brazilians in America who are Spiritists. And I did that course for the entirety of my first grief year, and that held me and set a foundation for me that I needed in terms of spirituality and how I understand the grief of losing my daughter and how I continue to bring my daughter with me. The second thing that happened is, if you look at the top here, it says Fleur is one of the best mediums in this world, or in the world, accurate by sheer work and endeavor. Tony Stockwell, medium and TV personality. Okay. When I was reading this book, I had no clue who Tony Stockwell is, and as a matter of fact, I just read that, but I didn't search him up or anything like this. Now, this book, as I said, has do-it-yourself things, and one of the do-it-yourselves was the Osho meditation. So she talks about different kinds of meditation, and this actually opened me up into understanding that meditation doesn't just have to be one prescribed thing. There are many routes of meditation, and she spoke about the Osho meditation. How the Osho meditation works is that you do, I think, 5 different things. So the first thing is just breathing cathartically, like breathing really heavily for like about 10 minutes. Then you're supposed to like dance and flail or have your arms up for 10 minutes. Then you're supposed to scream or shout or cry for 10 minutes. Then absolute stillness for 10 minutes. And then the last thing is something else, which I can't remember, or laying down something for 10 minutes. And guys, when I first did this meditation that she suggested in the book, I felt so elated. Like, I felt this vibration, this energy around me, this power around me that I'd never felt before. And then I became inspired. An idea came into my head, and I was like, I need to go look for a place to do this meditation. Don't know why I did that, because I was doing the meditation in a room. At the time, I was living in an emergency accommodation, which was a hotel, or a temporary accommodation, which was a hotel. And I just had that one room, and this same room was the place where my waters broke. So I knew exactly the spot where it was. It was a tiny room. I saw the spot, and the room felt very uncomfortable for me. So I was like, do you know what? I'm enjoying doing this meditation, but I want to do it in a place that doesn't feel enclosed like this room. So I went to the town where I was staying at the time, to like the town centre or the city centre, whatever you want to call it. And I was looking around. I looked at these, there was one space that had like workshops, but you had to like pay for it. It was a shop, but they were doing like workshops in there. I looked around, I was like, no, it's not this. Then I went to the local library and looked around, and I was like, yeah, there's nothing that you can do in the library. I was trying to see if they had any rooms. And lastly, I went to the local theatre, because obviously in the theatre, surely they're going to have rooms that they use to rehearse. As I go into the theatre, I ask the question and they're like, yeah, we've got rooms, but then I didn't really speak to anyone, and it didn't seem like, I can't remember what happened there. I just feel like there probably wasn't a room available or something like that, but they told me to just take a program, or I told myself to take a program. Guys, where I was living at the time is not like a well-known area, let's say, or it is in London. It's not the place, it's not the it place, let's just say it that way. And as I picked up this program, I open it and inside it says the different things that are happening. And one of these different things that are happening is Tony Stockwell is coming to do a session, to do a reading. And I was like, Tony Stockwell, that name sounds familiar. Tony Stockwell, Tony Stockwell. And as that was going, like, working through my head, I had the book. I took this book with me everywhere I went, by the way, for like at least those first 6 months. It didn't take me that long to read it. I think I read it within the first month or something, but I definitely took it everywhere with me. And then as I was trying to work it out, I was like, forget it, I don't know. I go like this to read a page of the book. When I say I took this book everywhere, I'm walking down the road reading this book, right? Soaking everything in. And there it was, Tony Stockwell. And I was like, what? No way. Like, what are the chances? So I booked it. I booked it straight away. I went to that reading that he led. He didn't read anything for me, but it was very interesting to just listen and be in that space, right? And yeah, so I've got a few things doggy marked in here, and I will just read or like point out a few of these things, and how this book has really supported me. It gave me the groundwork that I needed to understand that my daughter, she just went before me. As that sounds like really, that doesn't sound, it sounds really just like simplifying the loss and the trauma, because that is very true. But I had to tell myself that she simply went before me. Like, we're going to still be connected. She just went before me. And I have to tell myself that, because otherwise I'll be stuck on the fact that why is she gone? Why is she not here? And that just brings a lot of anger into me, and I don't want any anger directed into my child. But it's very hard. It's very hard to do that. And it's not to say that anyone who does feel angry, because you should rightfully be feeling angry that your kid isn't here. This is just my experience, okay? I'm not trying to speak on to anyone at all. So yeah, the thing I love most about this book is that it gives you a place to ground yourself by asking you to do different kinds of exercises, a lot around meditation. So there's one where it's like you meditate, you can listen to some music, walk around the park and just meditate, but you're walking like you're alert, you're awake. And you can invite your person, your loved one, to come and walk with you, right? You might receive some stuff, but just feeling them close to you and doing that often, and write about it. Writing, like I've said this a million times before, but writing is what will really get you to understand and learn about yourself, because you know, thoughts come and go, ideas come and go, but when we write it down, we can see it, and we don't forget it as well. Another thing that I found really brilliant is that she says that you don't actually need to go to a medium, because we have that in ourselves. We all do have that intuition, right? And it's always important to, like I said, write things down so you can understand what you're being given and what it means. So for example, I actually went to see a medium after Mila died, and I saw him in February of 2023, towards the end of February 2023. And he explained to me that what mediums get is like, whether it's images or whatever it is, like clairvoyance, let's say, they get images or things that they understand of how they see the world. Image or the message that a loved one wanted to pass to you was that, I don't even know, like that you liked, let's say, Alexander McQueen. Now this guy that's doing your reading, or this woman who's doing your reading, might not even know who Alexander McQueen is, but they'll say, oh, I keep getting a red car from cars, a red car. Or maybe they'll say something like, I keep getting an image of Alexander Hamilton, something like that. So the word Alexander and an image of a car, they keep getting that, right? And they're trying to decipher it, because I've spoken about my mediumship reading before, and people have commented, oh no, like he's taken too long to get to the point. Well, actually he's just making sense of the imagery that's coming. It's like translating a language. Like you're not always going to get 100% of it right immediately. Like you need to decipher it. And when we are coming into our intuitive selves and understanding of what information we're getting from the outside world, or what information we feel from our inside world as well, we need to write that down to decipher what it is and make sense of what it is that we're getting. I honestly think this book is incredible for anyone who really just wants to feel more secure in knowing themselves. I think it's a great way to start. And somebody who is desperately trying to feel connected to their loved one. Desperately. It's a guidebook. It's a how-to book. It really breaks it down. It simplifies it in such beautiful terms, you know, and it makes you try to differentiate. Why do you have the disbelief? Why do you not believe in it? Why are you judging and self-judging? What is it that is stopping you? It really breaks it down. For example, here she talks about your dictionary and about, you know, understanding, like what I was saying before, like deciphering what you're getting. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I've missed anything, because I feel like I did more of an overview than a real review. This is my first time doing one of these, so do bear with me, guys. But if you have any specific questions about this book, please do ask me. It is a wonderful book. I would definitely get this book if I were you. But yeah, do subscribe, do chat with me. I'd love to hear from you. Sending so much love for all those who are grievers, and I hope you receive a sign from your people, because there is nothing better than that.